Did you just see VR Mario Kart with guns? Well, that's exactly what our team made. I'm Enoch, and I'm the level designer and the 3D and environmental artist for this game. For our IF445 final project, we decided to make a game where we mix Mario Kart and shooting all in VR. And the end result? We have Kart-Klash, a VR racing shooter game. The rest of the following video, my teammates and I will briefly walk you through the process of making this game and the design decisions behind the mechanics. So, I hope you enjoy. Our main goal for this game is to make a fun and engaging game where players will feel the thrill and excitement from racing while enjoying the satisfaction of shooting. In terms of immersion, we want players to feel like they're in the driver's seat and can feel the speed of them driving and the other racers driving by. We couldn't have achieved the level of fun we have in our game without the multiple iterations and many player testings of our game. Currently what you're seeing is the tutorial where players will begin. The tutorial is set up so players will have to learn the mechanics and the controls of our game. As you can see, the players will have a gun on the right hand where they can shoot targets and other drivers, and on the left hand, they will control the steering and acceleration. For the level design and the environment, I designed each map to be unique from each other, so there will be something new to offer after playing through each track. This way, despite the gameplay being repeated through the entire game, the maps will offer variety to the players. For the tutorial, I'll briefly go over my thought process when designing this map. I thought a bedroom would be unique, as exploring the map through VR as a toy-sized character would be fun for the player, where it's riddled with props from our game. In terms of designing the tutorial, I thought it'd be nice to have two paths for the player so they can choose whether to take the tutorial or skip it. Additionally, I've added a simple practice track around the whole entire table so players can practice what it's like to drive and get used to the controls and shooting.
Hello, I'm EJ Nicholas. I'm a gameplay designer, programmer, and technical lead for Kart-Klash. I program the car controls, its interactions with other objects, and tracking race progress. Our VR experience is more leading towards a game rather than a story-driven experience. Because of this, we keep our users engaged and immersed into our game by engaging their flow and also challenge immersion and sensory immersion. Flow is basically the player not being too challenged or having too easy of the time in the game. For Kart-Klash, we try to maintain a good sense of flow by introducing our players with a tutorial, and as the tracks harder and harder the more they go. Players also start off the slowest, so they have an easier time getting used to the track. They start at 0 targets, which means you're the slowest as you can be. As you shoot more targets, your base speed increases, and as you go faster, the more skilled you'll need to be to control your car. To keep our users engaged through their sensory immersion, we put in a lot of time and effort to making sure our tracks were visually pleasing and also the sound effects were nice and responsive. So why did we even make this game in the first place? The answer is your 2 free hands and you move the camera with the headset. A game like this would be really hard to play on a traditional controller because for most cases that you're aiming with the gun is tied to your camera controls, so wherever you look the gun will go too. However, in the presence of a VR headset, where you look and where you aim doesn't necessarily have to be the same, which is why we developed this game. During the showcase, a lot of people got to play our game, and though we don't have any interviews or videos or written evidence to back it up, people really liked our game. We asked people who finished playing our game what their thoughts were, and a lot of them said the game was really fun. Preventing motion sickness was a big challenge for this project. We took extra steps to keep the camera as steady and within the user's control. So for example, when I drive up this ramp, the angle of the car changes but not my camera. It's a subtle change that not many players realize, but it helps a lot in preventing motion sickness. Now if I do it again with the two keeping the same angle, the incline makes the camera instantly snap up, which is really disorientating during early testing. We designed our tracks to prevent motion sickness and to maintain fun. Our roads are fairly flat, with inclines mainly being used to navigate around the environment in interesting ways, and even then they are not too steep. During playtesting, we found users to experience motion sickness when they would go down steep hills. Also, our tracks do not have very sharp turns, Since you're in first person and going fast, these turns can be hard to gauge in a short time. There were quite a few times during playtesting where a player would not notice a turn because they were busy shooting at something and just slam into the wall. Smooth turns allow people to recover in these situations.
Hi, my name is Herman, one of the gameplay designers/developers of Kart-Klash. My main contributions to this project are the VFX and UI designs, with structure part of the core feedback loop the player experiences, as well as gameplay programming on the enemy's driving and shooting logic, as well as the shootable targets scattered around the maps. The core of the enemy AI utilizes a nav mesh system that can bake surfaces by layer, which determines where the AI can drive. In terms of driving, variance and randomness were added wherever possible in order to make the race more chaotic and exciting for the player. In addition, enemies are also able to shoot the player, other enemies, and shootable targets as well after a brief lock-on period, with an adjustable percentage chance to hit implemented for each type of target so that we can adjust gameplay balance quickly and easily. When it comes to particles, a number of effects were used in order to further improve the feedback the player receives. This includes shooting, hitting enemies, shootable targets, getting hit, entering and exiting a map, completing a lap, as well as finishing a race. One key element across all of these particles are the vibrant, contrasting colors. These not only complement the toy-like aesthetics we were trying to achieve, but also increase gameplay clarity for players in a VR game that is already relatively fast-paced.
Hi, my name is Ricky Lin, and my main role for Kart-Klash is the sound designer and programmer. I mainly worked on creating the sounds as well as implementing them into Unity, as well as working on the gun shooting mechanics. For the gun shooting mechanics, one of my main tasks for this was making sure the controller worked with the gun system. And so, I mainly worked on programming the right controller as it would be used for the gun shooting system, as well as making sure that the right controller could aim the gun, shoot the gun, as well as basic detection systems for collisions, which we later on used for damage. And for the sound, I use a combination of audio sources as well as audio clips to play the sound in Unity whenever I wanted, such as having it in the background on loop for background music, or specifically inside the script, for example, playing a noise when you hit an enemy, and making that a different noise if you hit an enemy target or an enemy driver, as well as adding sounds such as drifting or hitting other CPU with your cart.
Well, this is the end of our video. We've hoped you enjoyed our game, Kart-Klash. On screen is a group picture of our team. I'm on the right, next to me is EJ, on the left is Kajal and Irene, and on the bottom is Herman and Ricky. Special thanks to everyone who has playtested our game, and hope you had fun. The rest of the video is just the rest of the gameplay, so enjoy that. Once again, thanks for watching.